Yup, I got another Invicta, and I'd like to share my initial thoughts on this watch, which stay pretty much the same as those I had over this Pro Diver, which I got just a couple of weeks earlier. These two watches, and dare I say a lot more from the brand's expansive catalog, are solid steel daily beaters that look and feel way more premium than what their price tags may suggest, which I'm sure anyone can realize is basically Casio money. I got both of these from Amazon, this one for $52 and the Diver for $49, shipping included. Not a bad rotation of beaters for $100, right? If you're more interested in the Diver, I'll leave a link to my recent review of that in the description, cause for now we'll be taking a closer look into this watch, which Invicta oddly calls a Pro Diver as well. A Levy's Pro Diver Quartz to be exact, despite having the looks that would suggest a totally different type of watch, and case dimensions that I think are more popular among most men given the type of watch that it actually turns out to be. Neither does it share the same case with the other Pro Diver, which I'll be referring to as the Diver as I point out any differences between the two later in the video. For $50, there's really nothing to fault here, but if I had to include at least one con in this review to make it seem more credible, then it would have to be the PC32 quartz movement. While having mostly positive reviews for accuracy and reliability relative to its price, setting the time on this watch instantly reminds you of a cheap movement on the inside. The gears do feel a bit loose, if that's even the right term, and those hands can bounce significantly as the ground is operated. Well, at least it's quartz, so you won't be often reminded that your watch runs on something that costs nearly as the box that it came in. But on a more positive note, replacing the movement will be really cheap and easy should it die anytime. And as I've read somewhere, the dimensions of the PC32 such as the thickness and diameter, the positions of dial feet and date window, the hand sizes, stem height, are all identical to that of a Miyota 2115, which for not much money could be an upgrade worth considering. With that feature out of the way, everything's gonna be mostly positive from here relative to what I paid for this watch at the least. Let me walk you through those, beginning with the face of the watch while we're here. We have a very pronounced sunburst finish on the dial, gray on the specific reference, though there are a few more colors available. Printed minute track on the outer edge, printed Invicta name below 12, 2 rows of printed text above 6, applied stick indices with steel borders for every hour, double sticks for 3, 6, 9, and 12, but shortened at 3 o'clock to give way to that cut-out date window. Matching baton type hour and minute hands with a needle type seconds hand. All under a flat mineral crystal with an applied date bubble, which I would rather not have but actually serves its purpose. Legibility is really excellent, while the lights are on that is, cause the lume on those hands and indices disappointingly don't last long enough to be of any practical use. Now let me quickly bring in the Diver for the Invicta haters out there. The emblem below 12 and on the seconds hand counterbalance are totally left out on the other watch. Moving on with the case finishing, we have a high polished fixed bezel, radial brushing on the top of the lugs, high polish on either side of the case, a signed push-pull crown, and an all-brushed stainless steel screw-in case back with, shall I say, interesting engraving. Again, finishing is on about the same level as an entry-level Seiko from what I'm seeing. Let me bring that Pro Diver back in again for comparison. It's not an identical case. Of course, the bezels are different on these watches and the crown guards are gone, but I wish the chamfered edges on the Diver were kept for a subtle hint of sophistication. Now here's where I'll have to agree with the haters, hoping a few have made it this far in the video. Someone on the Invicta design team finally realized that the engraved branding on one side of the case is simply unnecessary and not really that tasteful, according to everyone. Now onto the bracelet. 20mm at the lugs, tapering down to 18, hollow end links, solid oyster style links but single and not really 3-link, held together by push pins, polished center, brushed shoulders with polished sides, stamped clasp with a fold over lock, and 4 levels of micro adjust. Finishing on the bracelet is a bit better than that on the Seiko 5 in my opinion, but the tolerances on this one are slightly worse than those on the diver, or at least more pronounced as a result of the 2mm of extra width. But still, not at all bad for the price, and is actually comfortable while feeling very substantial. This definitely doesn't feel like a $50 watch on the wrist. Here it is on my 6 1/4 inch wrist. It's not size exclusively for ladies as you can see. Would have actually preferred a 36 or even a bit smaller for this style of watch, but this one wears really comfortable, sitting really low, with the lugs barely extending past the width of my arm. I'm not a dive watch type of guy. I'd rather reserve wearing a diver to those very rare outings at the beach or near a pool at the least. And while the PRX is my favorite daily, I still love keeping it flawless as much as I reasonably could. This Invicta will serve as its rougher brother to take on the rougher tasks. In fact, I may have gotten this instead of the diver if only I had seen enough reviews back when I had zero confidence in the brand. Well, they're ridiculously cheap to flip anyway, so I'm keeping both. And having this collection of watches that I can wear carelessly to any occasion that may come up for barely over 100 just makes me smile every time. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next.